Everyone, I'm Logan Wahlberg, and I'm doing my interview um, video on the SLP and the behaviors of the student that I'll be observing. The student that I'm going to be observing on the spectrum has some behaviors that are going wrong with socializing with others. He has a tough time to socialize with others, doesn't like to communicate with others, kind of likes to stay to himself, and would rather just not talk to anybody. Um, when he does talk to others, he can be sarcastic and mean. He'll make fun of others when they talk, or he'll be smart with his response back, and or when someone doesn't speak well, he can kind of come in and just say like a smart remark that kind of will upset people. He doesn't know sometimes when he makes fun of others. He just doesn't know how it can hurt them, or doesn't kind of have that understanding. Um, he uh, he will shut down at times too when a teacher asks him a question that he may not like to answer, or um, they keep trying to get it out of him. He will just like kind of sit there sometimes and just stare, or he'll walk away, get up and out of his seat. Just doesn't like to talk back sometimes when he's having that moment of shutdown. He can talk back too. He can kind of get smart even with the teacher, or being like a smart response back, or just talking back to the teacher. He doesn't like to get out of his comfort zone. When it's something that doesn't really interest him, he'll kind of just sit there and not really socialize much, or just say, "Oh, I don't like that," or "I'm not talking about that." Just sometimes, especially when it's dealing with sports, he just hates sports, and some people like to talk sports with him, and he won't even address it at all. He'll just walk away. Um, he doesn't like to be asked a lot of a question. So once he's asked his question, or someone's asked him a question and they try to continue the conversation on, he hates to keep on going. He just would rather just answer one word and then be done. And sometimes these teachers try to get that out of him, and it just kind of just will stop there. He doesn't like to be asked questions. Um, I plan on doing this interview by interviewing the SLP at our school. She works there 5 days a week, and I'm a resource special ed teacher, so I kind of have contact with her because a lot of my students work with her. So we see each other a couple times a day, and I've already talked to her about interviewing her, and she's fine with that. We're gonna do it next Thursday. The thing that's really good about this is she runs a social club, and this student happens to be in that social club. So I'm gonna observe that social club for an hour, and it's kind of like a practice for them to socialize with others, and ways to socialize with others. And she asks them questions. She has them go through kind of skits and stuff like that, plan questions, plan lessons on speaking with others. So I'm gonna observe that class for an hour and take notes down on the student, and then I'm gonna interview the teacher after and ask her questions about why might have he answered this question that way, or why did he get frustrated there, type of things like that. So it'll be perfect because it'll be able to have an example for an hour, and then I'll be able to interview her about that student right after. Um, that that social club, that social group is every Thursday, so they have about 8 kids in there, and they've been doing it for the whole year. So um, he has learned a lot in there, and I'm gonna try and learn some from him and get to know him better through that way. And it'll be a straight hour of learning these things. So I'm looking forward to it. But that's the plan: is to interview her right after we see him in action.